In our later years, life often presents us with unique challenges, opportunities, and yes, unexpected moments of peace. But have you ever wondered why it sometimes feels easier to let certain things go as we grow older? Is it because we've gained wisdom, or is it a quiet, subtle strategy for preserving peace and dignity, something far more powerful than we might realize? I'd like to invite you to join me on a journey not just through the inevitable aging process, but through the deep understanding and profound strength we gain as we grow older. Today, we're going to explore 7 moments when adopting a quieter approach. What might seem like pretending to be less aware or less engaged could actually be one of the wisest choices you make. This isn't about surrender, it's about strength. It's about knowing when to speak, when to stay silent, and when to embrace your wisdom without feeling the need to prove it to anyone. Let's dive deep into these life strategies rooted in years of experience, philosophical gems drawn directly from Buddhist teachings, offering a roadmap for navigating family dynamics, protecting your peace, and even gracefully handling modern-day dilemmas like technology. By the end of this video, you will have a new perspective on how quiet acts of wisdom, things you may have practiced for years, are not signs of weakness, but the ultimate display of inner strength. So stay with me. I promise you, the final lesson will stay with you for life. 1. When family makes decisions for you without consulting you. As the years pass, a curious thing happens. People around us start making decisions for us, often with the best of intentions. It's a delicate, bittersweet truth that we can't escape. Our loved ones, those who cherish us the most, begin to take the reins of our lives in ways they believe are helpful. Whether it's our health, finances, or living arrangements, they think they're looking out for us, doing what's best for our well-being. They may think they are protecting us from harm, shielding us from the burdens of daily decisions, or simply helping to make things easier. But oh, how that gesture, that act of care, can sting. There's a quiet ache that comes with being sidelined in the decisions of your own life. You might feel like you've become invisible, your opinions dismissed, your preferences ignored. It's as though your voice no longer carries the weight it once did. And deep down, that silence feels deafening. For years, you were the one making decisions for others, leading your family, steering the ship through calm and storm alike. Now, it feels as if you're being left behind, your seat at the table taken by someone else, someone who's making choices you never agreed to. It's a hard pill to swallow, no matter how much love or concern lies behind the gesture. The feeling of being disregarded, even for the most caring reasons, is something that cuts at the very essence of who we are. And in these moments, it's so tempting to fight back, to assert yourself forcefully, to let them know that you're still here and that your voice matters. It's easy to slip into frustration and to react from that place of hurt. After all, it feels like the only way to regain your autonomy is to take control back, to demand recognition of your right to make decisions. But as we get older, we begin to understand that sometimes the greatest strength lies in stepping back. It's not about surrendering or admitting defeat. It's about recognizing that the battle isn't always worth fighting. Buddhism teaches us about mindfulness, the art of being present, fully aware of our thoughts, feelings, and reactions, yet choosing not to be swept away by them. Mindfulness allows us to pause and take a deep breath before reacting, to look beyond our initial emotions and seek understanding. In these moments of frustration, when others make decisions on our behalf, mindfulness offers us the space to reflect. We might wonder, why are they doing this? Are they acting out of love and concern, or is there something deeper at play? Could they, too, be struggling with fear? Could they be uncertain about what lies ahead, just as we are? And in that uncertainty, they might be trying to take control, believing it's for our good, all the while unaware of how their actions may undermine our sense of self. Rather than lashing out with anger or hurt, what if we took a different path? What if, instead of saying, "Why didn't you talk to me first?" we said something like, "I see that you care, and I appreciate it. Let's sit down and talk about how we can make these decisions together." This small shift in approach, one of patience, understanding, and quiet strength, has the power to transform the situation. Instead of fueling conflict, we invite collaboration. We don't lose our voice or our power. Instead, we turn the moment into one of shared respect. It's a subtle but profound reminder that we are still capable, still valuable, and that our voice still deserves to be heard. And by speaking with calm assurance, we set the stage for a deeper connection, one built on mutual respect rather than one-sided decision-making. In moments like these, we can remind ourselves of Buddhist wisdom. Patience is not passivity. It's an active form of compassion. When we step back, when we don't rush to react, we give others the space to express themselves. We allow room for their thoughts and feelings to surface, just as we hope for them to hear ours. This doesn't mean abandoning our dignity or our autonomy. It means that we choose to respond with grace, not force. And in doing so, we preserve our inner peace, keeping the turmoil at bay while fostering an environment where mutual understanding can flourish. Choosing silence in these moments is not a retreat. It's a conscious choice. A choice to protect the relationships that matter most to us. A choice to create a space where love and respect are the foundation, rather than power struggles and misunderstandings. The wisdom that comes with age teaches us that sometimes the quieter we are, the more powerful we become. In that silence, we convey a message much stronger than words ever could, that peace is more important than pride, and love will always be the true measure of strength. So the next time we find ourselves in this delicate situation, remember that responding with understanding, patience, and compassion is not just a sign of surrender, it's a reflection of our inner strength. And perhaps, in doing so, we'll not only preserve our dignity, but also teach those around us the greatest lesson of all, that wisdom, like love, grows stronger when it's shared. 2. When someone underestimates your abilities. Have you ever found yourself in one of those moments when someone, perhaps a well-meaning young cashier, hesitantly explains how to use a touchscreen as if you've never seen one before? Or maybe a neighbor, eager to be helpful, offers to carry something for you even though it's clear you've got it all under control. In that instant, there's a strange mix of emotions that rises up. Surprise, perhaps a little frustration, and yes, a sharp sting. It's as if they've just underestimated everything you've been through. After all, you've lived decades of life. You've faced battles, overcome obstacles, mastered challenges. So why does someone think that this small, simple task is beyond you? It can feel belittling, like the very essence of your abilities is being dismissed with a glance or a comment. You've earned your wisdom, your strength, your independence, and yet here someone is, treating you as though you're incapable of managing something so trivial. The urge to snap back, to correct them, to prove that you're just as sharp, just as capable as you've always been, starts to bubble up. It's only natural, after all. Who wouldn't want to show they haven't lost their touch, to defend themselves against an assumption that feels so off the mark? But here's where the beauty of Buddhist teachings comes into play. Buddhism teaches us that true strength is not about constantly defending ourselves or proving our worth to others. In fact, the essence of real power lies in knowing your worth without needing to broadcast it. When someone underestimates you, it says far more about them than it does about you. It's their own assumptions, their biases, and their limited view of the world that's at play, not your reality. So what if, instead of correcting them or showing annoyance, you simply smiled and said, "Thank you for your help. I appreciate your concern." That's it. No need to prove anything, no need to rise to the challenge, just a moment of grace. It's not about pretending to be helpless or pretending that you don't understand something. It's about choosing peace over conflict, choosing to let your actions speak louder than words. You see, in those quiet moments, when someone assumes you can't handle something that you've mastered 1,000 times over, you have a beautiful opportunity not to fight back, but to let your calmness and competence shine. Buddhism teaches us that wisdom is often quiet, not loud. It's in the stillness, in the subtle actions, that true power resides. In that smile, in that graceful acceptance, you challenge assumptions without raising a finger. You gently challenge stereotypes and show them, and perhaps remind yourself too, that your abilities have depth far beyond what they see on the surface. Think of it this way: a person who underestimates you, especially because of your age, may not realize that what they're actually doing is opening the door for you to show them, through your quiet strength, what experience looks like. There's a power in letting others believe they have the upper hand, only for them to be caught off guard when you execute what they assumed you couldn't. There's no need to defend yourself. Your actions speak volumes. Every time you let go of the need to prove your worth in a moment of underestimation, you practice humility, a cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy. It's not about being passive or complacent. It's about understanding that your value doesn't need to be justified. You've already lived through enough to know the truth of who you are, and in those small moments where you don't fight back, you create space for others to learn something far greater than what words could teach them: quiet strength, patience, and the deeper understanding of what wisdom truly means. As time goes on, these moments will accumulate, and over the years both you and those around you will come to understand something profound. The true measure of your abilities is not in how loudly you declare them, but in how effortlessly they show up in your life, in your actions, in your calm demeanor, and in the way you handle every situation with the quiet assurance that only time can provide. So the next time someone underestimates you, take a deep breath, smile, and let your actions do the talking. You've already won, not through words, but through the wisdom of knowing who you truly are. 3. When family arguments or tensions arise. Family. It's a word that carries the weight of both love and tension, warmth and discomfort. They are the people we are closest to, yet ironically, they are also the ones who can challenge us the most. Siblings bicker over old wounds. Parents worry over decisions they may not fully understand, and the generational gaps seem to widen with every passing year. There are moments when a simple conversation can suddenly erupt into an argument, and in those moments, you realize just how deeply the emotions run. But here's the truth we often forget. Family is not just about agreement, it's about connection. And sometimes, that connection requires us to step back, to choose peace instead of proving our point. As we age, we learn to choose our battles more wisely. The fiery need to correct every misunderstanding or resolve every disagreement becomes less urgent. We start to see the bigger picture. The squabbles, the clashes, the opinions that don't quite align. They become less significant in comparison to the years we've spent together, the love we've shared, and the memories we've built. Yes, there are moments when we want to shout, to assert that our perspective is the one that matters, but we've also learned that the loudest voices don't always win. In fact, the quietest ones, those of patience and understanding, often leave the most lasting impression. Buddhist philosophy teaches us that peace doesn't come from controlling every situation or making sure we're always right. It comes from knowing when to detach, not from the people we love, but from the need to get involved in every conflict. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It's about stepping away from the emotions that cloud our judgment, allowing space for wisdom and love to flow naturally. It's a lesson in patience, in knowing that not every battle needs to be fought, especially when it comes to those who are closest to us. Picture this: a family gathering, and the conversation quickly escalates. Voices are raised, frustrations are boiling, and the room feels tense with every word. It's so easy to jump in, to be the peacemaker, to try to fix things, to insert our wisdom into the mix. But instead of reacting, you take a deep breath, you pause, you see your family caught in their emotions, and you realize that sometimes the best way to resolve a conflict is to simply let them work through it on their own. Instead of intervening, imagine offering a gentle, calm statement. It seems like this is something you all feel strongly about. I trust you'll find a way to work through it. And just like that, you've shifted the dynamic. You've taken a step back, not because you don't care, but because you care enough to give them the space to find their own resolution. You've subtly reminded everyone that family unity is far more important than winning a single argument. You've shown them, through your actions, the true value of compassion. Compassion not only for each person's point of view, but also for the relationship as a whole. This in itself is an act of wisdom, a wisdom that doesn't shout to be heard, but rather speaks softly, choosing love over pride. You've stepped into the role of the patient guide, not because you are above the fray, but because you know that sometimes true guidance comes in the form of presence, being there for them, offering a quiet word of reassurance, and trusting them to find their own way through the conflict. Buddhism reminds us that relationships are not built on perfection. They are not about always agreeing or always having the right answer. They are about mutual respect, patience, and above all, forgiveness. When we step away from the need to always be the one to fix things, we allow space for peace to take root. We create an environment where understanding, rather than judgment, can thrive. And most importantly, we protect the most valuable thing we have, the relationships that mean the most. As time goes on, these small moments of stepping back, of not inserting ourselves into every family squabble, will become more frequent. And with each one, you'll find that the bonds that hold you together grow stronger, not because of your ability to be right, but because of your ability to choose love, patience, and understanding in every circumstance. It's in those quiet moments where true wisdom resides, the kind that doesn't need to speak loudly to be heard, but simply knows when to remain silent so that the heart can speak for itself. So the next time the tension rises in a family discussion, instead of jumping in, take a breath, take a step back, and allow the love and wisdom you've accumulated to shine through, not in words, but in your actions. 4. When you encounter technology, you don't fully understand technology. It's everywhere, from smartphones in our hands to voice-activated assistants in our homes. It's changing at a pace that seems almost impossible to keep up with. Every day, new gadgets emerge, new apps are developed, and before we know it, something we once thought was cutting edge is suddenly outdated. And for many of us, especially those of us who didn't grow up with these tools at our fingertips, it can feel like trying to catch up with a train speeding away down the tracks. As we grow older, it's not uncommon to feel that sense of overwhelm when we encounter a new device, a new software, or even a seemingly simple app that requires 100 new gestures and taps just to turn it on. It's easy to feel a bit lost, even a little embarrassed, especially when those around us, whether family, friends, or even strangers, seem to navigate these technologies with ease. The temptation to hide that feeling, to pretend we understand or can figure it out on our own, can be strong. But here's the thing. There is no shame in not understanding something right away. It's simply the pace of the world, evolving at a speed that's hard for any of us to match, regardless of age. This is just the way things are now, and that's okay. So why not embrace this challenge, this feeling of unfamiliarity, not with frustration, but with a sense of curiosity? After all, curiosity is one of the most beautiful qualities we can cultivate, no matter how old we are. Buddhism teaches us that learning is a lifelong practice, and the moment we stop being open to learning, we start to close off our own growth. It doesn't matter if we're 60, 70, or 80. Our minds are just as capable of learning as they ever were. The key is in our willingness to remain open, to embrace the unknown with a gentle curiosity instead of fear or frustration. Imagine this. You're sitting at the kitchen table, trying to make a video call on a new tablet. The screen is full of buttons and icons that might as well be in another language. The little symbols seem to mock you as they flash and change. Instead of feeling embarrassed or defeated, you take a deep breath. You recognize the frustration, but you don't let it stop you. Instead of struggling alone, you ask for help. You turn to the young person sitting next to you, your grandchild perhaps, and simply say, "I could use some guidance. Would you mind showing me how this works?" And just like that, you've shifted the energy. You've transformed what could have been an isolating experience into an opportunity for connection. By asking for help, you open the door for someone else to share their knowledge, to teach you something new. And in doing so, you not only learn, but you also build something far more valuable than just understanding a device. You build mutual respect. It's not about pretending to be helpless or saying that we can't manage on our own. Far from it. Asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's an act of wisdom, recognizing that we don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to pretend we know everything. What matters is that we're still willing to grow, still willing to connect. The younger generation, eager to share their knowledge, will often feel a sense of pride and fulfillment when they can teach. This creates a beautiful exchange where learning isn't just about the technology, but about strengthening relationships and reinforcing the understanding that we all have something to offer. This approach, grounded in humility and curiosity, can make us more adaptable, more connected, and more at peace with the ever-changing world around us. It reminds us that technology, like anything else in life, isn't something to fear or resist. Instead, it's a tool to enhance our lives. And as long as we approach it with a sense of openness, it becomes something we can enjoy, not something that overwhelms us. So the next time you encounter a new piece of technology that leaves you feeling confused or unsure, don't shy away from it. Embrace the challenge with curiosity and an open heart. Ask for help when you need it, and allow that act of learning to deepen your connections with others. In doing so, you'll find that not only can you keep up with technology, you can thrive in it, all while embracing the wisdom that comes with age and experience. 5. When someone criticizes your choices or lifestyle, as we journey through life, every choice we make, every decision we take, starts to paint a portrait of who we are, our values, our experiences, the things that bring us joy. All of these are reflected in the choices we make. How we spend our money, what we eat, where we live, how we spend our time. These are not just choices, they are small pieces of the life we've crafted, shaped by years of experience and reflection. Yet with every path we walk, there will always be someone ready to offer their critique. And oh, how it stings, whether it's the way we choose to spend our savings, the lifestyle we've carefully cultivated, or the small pleasures that we've come to cherish. There will always be someone with an opinion, someone who feels the need to point out where they think we've gone wrong. It can feel like an attack, even if their intentions are good. They may not realize that their words aren't just suggestions, they're judgments, often delivered in a way that makes us feel like we need to explain ourselves, to justify the path we've chosen. In these moments, it's only natural to want to defend yourself. After all, you've spent years building your life with intention. Every decision you make has been shaped by what you've learned, by your values, by what feels right to you. You want to explain why you've made these choices, why they're important to you. You want them to understand. But here's the truth that Buddhism teaches us: we don't need to justify ourselves to anyone. Detachment from the opinions of others is a powerful tool we often forget to use. It's not that we disregard the thoughts or perspectives of those around us. It's simply that we don't need their approval to live our truth. Imagine this: someone criticizes your choice to travel instead of saving for something more important, or perhaps they question your decision to live a quieter life, away from the hustle and bustle of the city. In that moment, the urge to defend yourself is overwhelming. You feel the need to explain how carefully you've thought this through, how much peace this choice brings you. But instead of reacting impulsively, what if you paused and responded with, "I appreciate your concern, but this is what brings me peace. I've thought this through, and I'm happy with the path I've chosen." What a powerful response. In that simple sentence, you affirm your decision, your values, and most importantly, your peace. You convey that your happiness doesn't depend on external validation. It comes from within, from aligning your choices with your truth, your deepest self. You see, what we often forget in moments like these is that our choices are ours to make. No one has walked the same path, lived the same life, or faced the same challenges. We have the right to make decisions that reflect who we are and what we need. And sometimes, criticism is not really about us. It's about the other person's limited understanding or their own projections. Let their words roll off you like water off a duck's back. In the grand scheme of things, your peace is more important than any defense you could offer. This doesn't mean that we should shut others out or never consider their perspective, but there's a quiet strength in knowing that we do not need to prove ourselves. Our choices are valid because they're ours. And in those moments when criticism arises, we can simply remind ourselves we are enough. Our path is ours to walk, and we walk it with the wisdom, love, and self-assurance that we've earned over a lifetime. So, let the judgments come. They are nothing more than a reflection of others' perspectives. Your peace and your truth are the only things that matter. 6. When arguments over politics or beliefs arise. Politics. It's a topic that, for better or worse, stirs up the deepest emotions in all of us. In today's world, debates about political issues and ideological differences seem to be everywhere, on social media, at dinner tables, in the workplace. With every passing day, it feels as if the stakes get higher and the voices get louder. Everyone is so eager to win the conversation, to prove their point, to show that they're right, that somewhere along the way, the core of what truly matters gets lost. Respect, understanding, and the preservation of relationships. It's almost as if the goal of the conversation shifts from seeking truth to claiming victory. But let's be honest, is winning really worth the cost of tearing apart relationships? When we've spent decades navigating the ups and downs of life, we come to realize that no matter how much we argue, no matter how many facts we present, These conversations rarely bring us any closer to the truth. In fact, they often do the opposite. They push us further apart, even when our intentions are noble and our cause is just. You've seen it, haven't you? How these arguments keep repeating themselves through the years, from generation to generation. What's being debated today has been debated before, and chances are it will continue to be debated long after we're gone. The faces change, the issues shift, but the frustration, the passion, and the division remain constant. The same issues we argue about today were likely the same ones that sparked similar fiery discussions decades ago. It's like a cycle that seems impossible to break, leaving us wondering if it's all worth it in the end. As someone who's weathered many storms in life, you've come to understand something profound. Engaging in every political or ideological argument doesn't bring us closer to any kind of resolution. It doesn't foster understanding. It doesn't build bridges. Instead, it can leave us drained, frustrated, and bitter. So what if we didn't always jump into the fray? What if instead of rushing to defend our beliefs, we took a moment to step back, to assess the situation with a calm mind and open heart? Buddhism teaches us to practice right speech, a principle that calls for speaking with intention, care, and mindfulness. It's not about silencing ourselves or pretending we don't have a voice, but rather about choosing when to speak and when to remain silent. Sometimes, the most powerful response is the one that doesn't come at all. Imagine being at a family dinner, surrounded by younger generations who are passionately debating the latest political issue. Everyone's raising their voice, throwing out facts, becoming more and more entrenched in their positions. The atmosphere thickens with tension, and before you know it, it feels like the conversation is spiraling out of control. Instead of getting swept up in the emotional chaos, what if you simply took a breath and said, "I admire how much energy you all put into this. I'm confident you'll work through it. Let's talk about something lighter." In that one moment, you've shifted the dynamic. You've brought the conversation back to what truly matters: connection, not conflict. You've acknowledged the passion and energy of the debate without adding fuel to the fire, and you've gracefully redirected the conversation to something that can foster connection and mutual respect. This is not about surrendering your beliefs or backing down from what you stand for. It's about choosing when to engage and when to step back. It's about understanding that sometimes the greatest act of strength is knowing when to let the conversation rest. In Buddhist practice, peace comes from within. It's not about winning arguments, but about cultivating inner harmony. When we choose to disengage from debates that don't serve us, we preserve our peace, showing others that respect and understanding are the true foundations of any meaningful connection. So next time you find yourself caught in the middle of a heated discussion, remember this: you don't need to prove you're right. You don't need to win the conversation. What truly matters is the love and respect you share with the people around you and the peace you cultivate within yourself. That's the victory that lasts. 7. When someone tries to take advantage of your kindness. Kindness. It's a gift we've all come to cherish, one that flows from our hearts and into the world. Over the years, we've learned to give freely, to share what we have, and to help those in need without asking for anything in return. We do so because it feels right, it brings joy, it fosters connection, and it makes the world a little brighter. But here's the thing we don't always anticipate. Not everyone sees kindness as a gift. Some people see it as a way to take advantage, to exploit the generosity we offer. It's a bitter realization, but it's true. Whether it's a pushy salesperson trying to sell you something you don't need, or a distant relative asking for money under pretenses that just don't sit right with you, There are times when kindness is misunderstood. These situations can leave us in an emotional tug-of-war. On one hand, we want to help. We want to give. We want to be generous. We want to do the right thing. But on the other hand, something doesn't feel quite right. A nagging feeling in the back of our mind tells us that our kindness is being taken for granted, maybe even manipulated. And that, my friends, creates an inner conflict. We ask ourselves, should I help? Should I stand my ground and say no? It's a delicate balance. Buddhism offers a guiding light in these moments with the concept of discernment. Discernment is the ability to know when our generosity is being misused and when it's time to say no. We don't have to feel guilty for protecting ourselves, for drawing a line when our kindness is being exploited. Saying yes to every request doesn't make us better people. It makes us people who might be easily taken advantage of. Imagine this: someone asks you for help, a financial favor, a task, or even your time, and something just doesn't sit right. You feel the pull to say yes, to be helpful, to live up to the image of the kind person everyone expects you to be. But inside, a quiet voice is telling you to slow down, to reflect, to make sure you're making the right choice. So instead of saying yes immediately, you take a moment to pause, to step back, and respond with a simple yet powerful phrase: "I'm not sure I understand. Let me think about it and get back to you." That's it. No need to justify, no need to feel rushed. In those words, you create space for yourself, for your thoughts, for your intuition. You allow yourself time to reflect, to evaluate the situation, and to trust that inner wisdom that has been honed over years of experience. You're not pretending to be unaware of the situation. You're simply protecting your time, your energy, and your well-being. Over the years, you've developed a sharp intuition. You can sense when something doesn't feel right, when a request is coming from a place of genuine need or from a place of exploitation. This intuition is a gift, a tool that you've built up over a lifetime of learning how to discern when to give and when to say no. It's not about being unkind or selfish. It's about giving with intention. It's about making sure that your kindness is directed where it will have the most positive impact, not where it will be taken for granted. Buddhism teaches us that generosity is a virtue, but it should come from a place of abundance, not obligation. True generosity is giving freely because we want to, because we know that our kindness will be appreciated and valued. It's not about proving ourselves by saying yes to every request that comes our way. It's about choosing where to direct our energy and resources, and sometimes stepping back when it's not the right time or the right request. True generosity at its core is not about giving until we're empty. It's about giving from a place of fullness, a place of awareness, and a place of peace. As we reflect on these 7 moments, the quiet strength that comes with choosing when to engage and when to let go, I want you to remember one thing: age is not a weakness, but a gift of wisdom. These are the years when our lives have been shaped by triumphs, heartaches, lessons learned, and moments of deep reflection. It's not about fighting every battle, but knowing when to step back and embrace the peace that comes from within. Buddhism teaches us that true strength lies in restraint, in the ability to hold back when necessary, and to let go of what no longer serves us. The greatest wisdom is often the quietest, the decision to love, to forgive, to be present in the moment, and to embrace the simple joys of life without the need for constant validation. So, I ask you, what will you choose to practice today? Will it be the power of patience, the grace of silence, or the wisdom of knowing when to walk away? Whatever it is, I invite you to take these lessons into your own life. Share your thoughts below. How will you apply this quiet strength to your journey ahead? If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to Quiet Wisdom. Let's continue this journey together. Because the more we embrace the wisdom of age, the more we can live a life full of love, understanding, and peace. Thank you for watching.